Welcome back everyone to the Gsuite administration tutorials. I'm going to pump these up because I am going through a work that requires this to be done, so I thought why not take this opportunity to go through this completely without wasting time, because this video does have a lot of content, or so I'm intending. Let's start with how you're going to provision things and what you need to know to provision Gsuite. Firstly, you need to know what is DNS. Just a recap for those who know domain name server, you probably do. So this is something that has a name like mydomain.com, for example, which points to an IP address. And for ease of remembering, this is how it is done. So you don't remember the IP address, you just go google.com. That's how all of the domains are created. And for your organization too, this is how the domain is going to work. And important thing is these domain names are maintained by domain system registrars. Okay, so they manage your domain and they are the one responsible for pointing to the IP. They keep all the records, and that's the most important thing. DNS records, it is them who have that. Who has it? Domain system registrar. And this is what you need essentially to migrate to Gsuite. If you're coming from some other LDAP servers, LDAP, however you want to say it, so they would have their own records, right? And this is what you need to migrate, and Gsuite provides tools for you to achieve that. So these records are of many types, and some of the ones you need to know that are most important are this is not part of records, but you should know what subdomain is. So it's, if your domain is mydomain.com, subdomain looks like my app or app.mydomain.com. So these are subdomains. They also come under the domain. So just a basic terminology that you should be aware of. Again, back to the records. What type of records are there? Crucial ones are MX records. These are called mail exchange records. Mail exchange records. And they contain information of where the mail is, where the server that has the mail, controlling the mail is. That is essential. Next is text records. They hold descriptive text. Descriptive text is, for examples, would be domain verification record and SPF. Next is canonical name records. These hold, or in short, it's just called CNAME. These contain information about the resources which we have. This can be mail, calendar, etc., which the server has, not we. Another crucial bit is TTL time to go live. So this is a value, a record which has a value that tells you if you make changes in the record, how many seconds will it take for it to go live. That's the record. That's another very essential value that the DNS server has. So and domain ownership should be verified using the TXT records. That's the best practice to do so. As I said, this is what the descriptive text, it contains the verification text, and that is the one that you have to use to verify your domain. And as far as time to go live is concerned, you should try to make sure that this is as low as possible. That's the system we are looking forward to. The TTL value should be very, very low, or as low as possible. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you have a big organization, if your client is a big org, then it may have multiple domains. Now, it is easy to add another domain. So if you have mydomain.com and another domain.com, it's perfectly fine. You can add them. You can add both of them. It won't be an issue. It is an easy user interface. Add the domain. I did have a pick for sure. Yeah, so this is your Google admin console. Go to the domains, manage your domains, and it would just give you a UI to enter these domains. And that's it. You have to verify that domain again with TXT record, and it would be done. It would be added. But what you need to know, there are some cons for having two domains or multiple domains. You can't have different policies, so you can't have different policy for both of the domains. You are going to have one policy for both of them, and you would have only one logo to represent your domain, which is your primary domain, and that is what is going to represent the other domain as well. So you will have only one policy for both and only one logo. That is something to keep in mind. And if you have alias for your domain, then this would only work if it's the primary domain. For secondary domain, alias mapping is not supported. For secondary domain or multiple domains, it's not supported. So only primary domain can have aliases. So if your alias is xyz.com, you can only redirect to mydomain.com if mydomain.com is your primary domain. Next problem you might inquire is Google Drive. So you can share Google Drive only at org level. So if the org is same and you have multiple domains, it's going to be basically shared with everyone. What that means is, of course, as a user, you can leverage its particular inside securities to give access to who you want or you do not want, but the whole drive is shared with all the domains. You cannot have different policy for Google Drive policy for different domains. It's going to be one policy again, but it's not that much of an issue because there is a lower level security as well. A user can choose who to give access to. So these are some points to keep in mind with multiple domains. So you are a Gsuite administrator and you need to migrate the data, right? Migrate the users essentially. So what do you need to know for this? You need to know which users are on LDAP server and which users are migrating to Gsuite. You need to keep this data in your head. And then further, Google provides you with a tool for migrating the local directory, if you want to call it. And Google provides a tool called Google Cloud Directory Sync, and this works very profoundly. I have a diagram, I think. Yeah. So GCDS in for short, and you have your LDAP server, the server you have to move the data from. So it queries the LDAP server, what do you have, and we are going to sync together. So I need to know what do you have. Then I'm going to look into the second step, what do I have in the Gsuite. And once it queries both of them, and query is an appropriate word because you are going to decide what users you need. So it's not going to be all. It might be all, but that's not the case on either the best practice. So you will query accordingly and say these are the users that I want, and that same query is going to go to Gsuite. These users, do they exist? If not, let's compare the responses in the third step of these queries. When it's done, okay, this is here but this is not here, it's going to update, and this is going to happen in number of cycles. It's not just once. So no user or data is mismanaged or misplaced. It makes sure that everything is synced completely and 100%. This goes through multiple cycles and keeps going as long as you're using the tool. So this is how it works, and this will ensure that no data of you is missing, no user is missing, and the query is so beautiful. So you can select to the very minute details which users you want to migrate, and there are certain APIs for it. We will go through it later, and they help you migrate these according to the query. Let me wrap up this video. Before I finish that, let's look into provisioning groups. There are 3 types of provisioning groups Gsuite has. These are admin managed groups, business managed group, and personal group. So key point is this can be synced with LDAP sync. LDAP cannot be. This can't be either. Can't be. So this is what you have to know, and these are admin managing. Obviously, these can be managed by admins as well as users. Same admin as well as users. Group, if you didn't realize, obviously means group of users. Yeah, for this bit, let's wrap up this video here. I think it's already long enough. We will continue with more in depth of Gsuite, and we will cover all the theory you need to know for a successful migration. Thanks for watching.